This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
The Hometown Foundation is excited to bring back the Dream Ride experience, August 26th to the 28th at Connecticut's Farmington Polo Club. Join us in celebrating the accomplishments of our Dream Riders while enjoying live music, a car and motorcycle show, family fun zone, pet adoptions, canine demonstrations, the Fireman's Chili Cook-Off, and much, much more. Get your tickets today.
Tobacco Road Sports Radio is so excited to be your home for Triad Sports.
I'm so excited! I'm so excited!
We heard you loud and clear. Our mission is to give you what you want.
You know what I want. I've been asking for it for years. Give it to me. Give me what I want.
The best sports talk and live sports in the Triad, period.
What's up, everybody? Live with Brandon Blake.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Score once again with Brett Wiseman.
Hello and welcome back to the Pit Stop here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio.
Welcome back to Franchise Players, your home for Triad Sports coverage. I'm your host, Desmond Johnson, here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio.
And if you think that's great, wait until you see what's next.
It's going to be good. It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge. Tune in at TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com. And don't forget to download the new Roku channel, Tobacco Road Sports Radio.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports. We are coming to you live from the Frankly Speaking Sports Studios right outside Nashville, Tennessee, in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. So thank you all very, very, very much for joining in. First of all, we are probably about 5 minutes from the Fort Campbell Army Post. Once again, we want to go ahead and thank all the men and women who protect this great, great nation on a daily basis, so we have the opportunity and the freedom to do what we like to do. Thank you so very much. Welcome, folks. We want to tell you we're streaming live right now on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Twitter. We are on Northeast Streaming Sports. If you have Roku TV, go to Roku TV, download Northeast Streaming Sports, and you can watch this show right now. You can watch it on your television set on Roku TV. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight on this Wednesday night. What a week. What a week if you are a football fan. College football, week 0 this weekend. Then you got finally the final preseason game of the year. That means 2 weeks from this weekend, actually 2 weeks from today, is the start of the NFL season. So lots and lots and lots to go over, talk about, and boy, do we have a full slate tonight. We are about 20 minutes away of having former center for the Tennessee Oilers / Tennessee Titans joining us, Kevin Long. So we're looking really, really forward to that. Also, as always, folks, want to remind you, all of our shows are free. Every single show we do is free. We don't charge. We don't charge for our interviews. We don't charge for anything. But in the meantime, for those of you that would like to go ahead, support or donate to our show, you can do so by going to our Cash App at $LSF528 or PayPal, Frankly Speaking Sports, at gmail.com. Everything is appreciated as we always go ahead and use that to go ahead and make our show even better than it is already. Well, folks, we're going to talk some NFL football tonight, and boy, oh boy, do I have a lot to go over. Want to remind you, if you want to interact with the show, all you have to do is go to the comment section, leave a comment, a thought, even a question, and I will go ahead and get that on the air. We will display it live on the air and answer your question accordingly. So, I want to start off with tonight. We're going to talk a lot about the Southern divisions of the AFC, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the South of the NFC. And I want to start off with the AFC South, home of where the Tennessee Titans play. But will somebody please tell me why the heck is everybody so high on the Indianapolis Colts? You would think they got Tom Brady during the offseason as their quarterback. It's just ridiculous, silly, stupid why so many people think this team is on the brink of success. But when you ask me, I think they're the furthest thing from it. The first thing is Frank Reich is not a play caller. He couldn't call a play if I put it right in front of him. He doesn't know whether he wants to run the ball, doesn't know whether he wants to pass the ball, yet he has one of the best running backs in the game in Indianapolis. And you got to wonder why is it so difficult to know that if you have a running back that rushes for 1,800 yards and Jonathan Taylor, run the damn guy, okay? Matt Ryan, you picked up Matt Ryan for Carson Wentz. Statistically, they were about the same last year. But age, a huge difference. Matt Ryan is at the end of the career, and you put him on the team where he only has one weapon besides the running game, and that's Michael Pittman Jr. Other than that, he has no one. He has no one. So please, why? Excuse me. Why do we think this Indianapolis Colts team is good? Nobody can tell me. Well, they got Matt Ryan. Okay, Atlanta had Matt Ryan. He didn't do anything there. Okay, Matt Ryan was good at one time. I loved Matt Ryan in college. He went to Boston College, came out, had a good career in Atlanta, but Father Time has met up with him. And now you're putting they believe in Indianapolis that it's the same thing moving Matt Ryan from Atlanta to Indianapolis as it was moving Tom Brady from New England to Tampa Bay. Wake up! It's not the same thing. You're being foolish, silly, and whatever other words you want to use to describe it. The team in this division should win this division, should be the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans, it's their division to lose. It is their division to lose. This team has a lot of talent. And, I know people question Ryan Tannehill, but I think people forget where they were before Ryan Tannehill took over as their quarterback. They were losing. They weren't even making the playoffs. But now the expectations, once you win, is to keep winning and win more and win the big game. And that's where Tannehill's been lacking. Hopefully, this will be his year. I mean, you look at the receivers on the Tennessee Titans. Robert Woods, if he gets healthy, which he is, he's looking real good. He's going to be dangerous. Treylon Burks, lots of questions around his health, but nobody can deny the talent that he has if he can stay on the field. And I'll tell you what, folks, I've said this all offseason since the draft. The guy to watch out for, and I said it from draft day. We have tapes of me saying it on this show. The guy to watch out for is the pick from UCLA, Kyle Phillips. Kyle Phillips, I think, is going to be the unsung receiver on this team. And I know we got Westbrook as well. You got also Hooper. We got Chwanku as well. So your tight ends are set. And, of course, you got the beast, Derrick Henry, in the backfield to go ahead and go with a defense that is already considered a top 10 or close to it in the NFL. There's nobody else in this division that can compete with them. Jacksonville's not there. I have Jacksonville going 4-13 this year. I have Houston only winning one game this year. My final tally for Indianapolis, I don't think they're much more than an 8-9 team this year. Love to get some feedback. For those of you on YouTube, on Facebook, go ahead, leave comments, interact with the show. Let us know what you think. Are they blowing this out of proportion? Are people thinking or believing that Indianapolis is better than they were? Are they any better off with Matt Ryan than they were Carson Wentz? We don't know. But I'll tell you what, he doesn't have any more weapons than Carson Wentz had. So we should see. But like I said, this is the Titans division to lose. It would be very, very surprising if the Tennessee Titans don't go ahead and hold on to this division and have. I had the Titans actually when in our Frankly Speaking Sports predictions that we did our show. I had the Titans, there we go, going 12-5 this year. I think that's respectable, and I think that is safe to say. But let's go ahead. Let's jump over to the other Southern division, folks. Let's go over to the NFC South, okay? And I'll tell you what, everybody has Tampa Bay winning. And you know what? Before the season started, I probably would have said something similar. But hold on, Tampa Bay. Stay back, take a deep breath, because you know what? Not so darn fast, Tampa Bay. You got a lot of issues there right now in Tampa Bay. First of all, you have no offensive line in Tampa Bay. There is nobody there right now to protect Tom Brady. No one. No one is there. They may have to take high school players from the local high schools at Plant High School out there or Chamberlain High School and go ahead and use them because they don't have any offensive linemen. Ryan Jensen's out possibly the whole year. I know all the Tampa Bay fans are hoping very dearly that he comes back sooner. It's going to be a lot tougher than they think. Alex Kappa is gone. He went over to the Bengals. Marpet retired. Aaron Stinney is now out. Excuse me, folks. Out for the whole season. And now Tristan Wirfs is banged up. Tom Brady is going. Wow. Excuse me, folks. Tom Brady is going to be running for his life. He is going to be running harder than he ever ran in his 20 years or 22 years in the NFL. No protection. He is going to be so sorry that he came back and came out of retirement. And I wonder how long it is before he starts breaking more tablets in Tampa Bay. But the surprise team, and first of all, going back to Tampa Bay, everyone says their defense, and their defense is good. They picked up Akeem Hicks during the offseason. Something went down the wrong way, folks. I apologize. But they picked up Akeem Hicks, but they lost Paul Pierre. They lost Sue. But this is a team that is consistently, even over the past 3-4 years, even during the Super Bowl run, they give up yardage. They give up a lot of yardage. And they're not going to be able this year to count on Tom Brady to bring them back because of that offensive line. That defense is going to have to control the yardage that they give up. Their pass defense has to be a lot better. And it's going to be a huge job for Akeem Hicks to come on this team and have to help the pass rush for this Buccaneer team in order to put pressure on the opposing quarterbacks so they don't have time to throw the ball. But my surprise team, folks, in the NFC South, and I know people are going to laugh at me, but when you look at football and I broke it down, I had the Buccaneers winning this division at a 13-4 record. 13-4 record. But that was before all the injuries. You know, we do these picks before that. But I'll tell you what, a team to watch out for is the Carolina Panthers. Could this be? There's always a surprise team. There's always a surprise team. Could this be the surprise team of 2022? And I think it can be. This team has depth. The one thing this team has lacked over the last couple of years is depth. Now, look at this. Mayfield. If he don't work out, they got Donald. Now, you can say what you want. You're rolling the dice with either, But when it comes to a comeback, backup quarterback in the NFL, you hope not to have to use them, but they probably have one of the best backup quarterbacks now in the NFL, maybe besides Nick Foles. McCaffrey goes down. Last year they had to go to Chuba Hubbard, the rookie. I wasn't really impressed with Chuba Hubbard. I'm not going to lie. I thought he would be much better, and maybe he does have the potential. But picking up Deonta Foreman, who played when Derrick Henry got hurt for the Titans last year, was a huge pickup. He rushed for over 500 yards and really helped the Titans when Henry went down. Meanwhile, you look at this team, offensive weapons. Yeah, quarterback is an important and a huge position. But the key thing for Carolina at the quarterback position isn't to have the best quarterback in the league. It's not. It's to be like the Trent Dilfer of the Baltimore Ravens. They need to not make mistakes and give their team an opportunity to win and let that defense go ahead and do what it knows how to do. I mean, they got DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Terrence Marshall to go with two great tight ends. And offensive coordinator Ben McAdoo now there. So you're going to see those tight ends being used. Remember the Bavaro days, the Stocky days in New York. Well, Tommy Trimble and Ian Thomas are going to be huge contributors on this team. You go to the offensive line. They finally got a little depth. They picked up Inky Ekwonu in the draft, and they got Brady Christensen, who should play more on this team. You put that with a top 10 defense, and if you're a betting man, this is not a bad team to bet some money on. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, believe me, but I think this team can go 10-7 in this division and really challenge the Buccaneers if the Buccaneers should squander because of that offensive line. Meanwhile, you look around that division and you say, who else do they have in that division? New Orleans. I got New Orleans going 7-10. Michael Thomas is returning. Jameis Winston is returning, but they got a new head coach. A lot of questions around this team. They do have some players, but at the end of the day, I don't know. It's not always easy for a new coach to come in and just automatically, they're going to make changes. They want to make changes. I don't care if Sean Payton was the previous coach. I think with the new coach, this team doesn't win more than 7 games. And then Atlanta I had before the season started, well, it's still before the season started, going 3-14, but they might pull out a few more games and get up to 5 or 6 victories, because I'll tell you what, former Tennessee Titan quarterback Marcus Mariota, I like what I'm seeing in camp with this guy. I really, really like what I'm seeing. I mean, they got Desmond Ridder there backing him up. I think Felipe Franks is there, but they don't have enough weapons. Another team with not enough. Give them 2-3 years when they get more draft picks and make some moves. This could be a decent team. They got Kyle Pitts. They got a good running game with Cordell Patterson, but still not enough on this team to win a lot of games. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our first break of the evening, and believe me, sounds from my voice, I don't know where this cough came from, that I might need it. So let's go ahead, take a break, and we'll be back right after this message.
The Hometown Foundation is excited to bring back the Dream Ride experience, August 26th to the 28th at Connecticut's Farmington Polo Club. Join us in celebrating the accomplishments of our Dream Riders while enjoying live music, a car and motorcycle show, family fun zone, pet adoptions, canine demonstrations, the Fireman's Chili Cook-Off, and much, much more. Get your tickets today.
Here at Tobacco Road Sports Radio, we ask the tough questions.
Hey, you got any left-handed footballs?
We're never afraid to tell you how we feel.
Come on, we look like the damn Bad News Bears.
We'll debate sports. We'll debate anything.
Man, you lying. You ain't never met Martin Luther King. Knocked the wind out of me. Yes, he did. No, he didn't. Yes, he did. No, he did not.
No matter what, Tobacco Road Sports Radio has you covered.
I'm going to come right back at him. I'm soldier.
You're listening to Tobacco Road Sports Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Frankly Speaking Sports Studios right outside of Nashville, Tennessee, in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. We are streaming live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Twitter, and we are also being shown on Northeast Streaming Sports Roku TV. Also, folks, for those of you that would like to re-listen to the audio of this show, you can do so tomorrow on TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com out of Raleigh, North Carolina. We also be on Spotify, iHeart, and many, many different platforms. So go ahead, join us, please. We'd love to have you listen to our show and interact. Reminder, if you want to interact with the show, that's what we're all about. That's what makes the show fun. Go ahead to the comment section. If you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, go ahead and leave a message, thought, question, comment, whatever you like. We'll display it on the air for you, and we'll also get to your comment, thought, or question and make our remarks about it. I want to also remind you, all of our shows are free. Every single show we do, every single athlete or former sports figure we talk to, and we have some great ones on this show, just like we have another one tonight, they're free. They're free. We don't charge for them. Now, in the meantime, if somebody would like to donate or support our show in any way, shape, or form, you can do so by going to Cash App at $LSF528 or PayPal, frankly speaking, sports at gmail.com. All support and donations are used to better our programming. But I'll tell you what, folks, preseason football is coming to an end this week. This week, preseason football comes to an end. After our interview, time permitting, we'll talk about what to look for in Game 3 and what I think teams should do, which is not necessarily the most, favorable thing to do. But we will talk about that more after our interview. But, it is a great honor, thrill, and pleasure, folks, to introduce our next guest. He played for, remember when Tennessee, when Houston Oilers first moved over to Tennessee, a lot of people forget they were called the Tennessee Oilers before they became the Tennessee Titans. And this gentleman was the former center for the Titans, for the Oilers. He played in Super Bowl 24. Let's go ahead and welcome into our Frankly Speaking Sports Studio, Kevin Long. Kevin, how you doing, buddy?
Good, Larry. How you doing?
I'm doing good, my friend. Thank you so very, very much taking time out of your busy schedule and joining us on Frankly Speaking Sports this evening.
Absolutely.
Okay, I see we having a little feed there. I'm seeing if we could can you hear me okay? Yeah, we have a little feed issue going on that end, Kevin. I'm not sure what that is. So it's kind of froze up on our end here. We're going to try to get Kevin right there. See if Kevin can come back on, and we'll go ahead. Maybe he'll come off the there he is. Up. Hold on. We're finding out. He's moving around there. So we'll give him a second to try to get it organized there. See if he can get back on, but not sure. Okay. He jumped out. He's going to go ahead and jump back in, folks. But we talk about these preseason games and how important are they, or are they important? And I'm going to tell you something. I think they're important. As we get Kevin back here, let's see if we can put him back on the screen here. Kevin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, Kevin, sorry about that. Kevin, let me ask you this, buddy. Everybody thinks being a center, is just fun and glory. You take the ball, you snap it to the quarterback, and your job's over. But it's the furthest thing, as you, of all people, know. Talk about the role for those listeners that are, they know it's an offensive line position, but talk about a center, and besides just snapping the football, what the other responsibilities of a center is on the offensive line.
It's a great question. A lot of times, depending on the defenses, the center's usually jobs to come out and point out the Mike linebacker, which would be your middle linebacker. And for the most part, my rookie year, that was pretty much all they let me do. Munchak was my offensive line coach, great coach, one of the best coaches I've ever had. But as I developed as a player, we started, getting more involved in reading coverages and reading safeties, being able to kind of check plays from whether it be a run pass option or, run right, run left option. So coming up, being able to recognize the defense early and being able to set the formation and be able to check audibles, help Steve out with the play a little bit so he didn't have to think so much time of snap.
Now, talk about when you studied film as a center, as an offensive lineman. Explain to our listeners what it was that you looked for in the films that could help you improve from game to game.
It's just watching situations. Munchak, again, one of the best coaches in the league, would break the film down and, like 1st and 10 plays, 2nd and short, 3rd and short. But being able to watch your opponent, how they handle double teams, which direction the linebackers tend to cheat to. Junior Sehow was a good one. Like, you watch him, he's always going to swim you the first time and then try to bull you the second time. So it's just getting to know your opponent. And the more you spend in that room watching the film, the more opportunity you have to learn who you're going against.
Yeah, and absolutely. I want to talk about, I was waiting for the right timing, but no time is better than the present. You played 4 years in the NFL, all with the Oilers, Titans, however you want to word it. But you probably played in the 2 most famous games ever to be played in football. Okay, and I want to start with the first one. And some of the fans may, I don't know if they remember it or too young. We're going to show you the first one. And then after we show it, we'll have you talk about it because there had to be so many emotions in this one. We're going to start out with the first game I want to talk about is the Music City Miracle. Let me go ahead and play that for the fans, and then we'll come back with you here.
Titans have a miracle left in them in what has been a magical season to this point. If they do, they need it now. Christie kicks it high and short. Going to be fielded by Lorenzo Neal at the 25. Pitches it back to Wycheck. He throws it across the field to Dyson.
He's got something.
30,
He's
40,
got something.
50,
He's got it.
40,
He's got it.
20, 10.
He's got it.
End zone. Touchdown Titans. There are no flags on the field.
I mean, what I want to do is I want to pick your brain on this one because I want you to go back in time now and talk about the roller coaster of emotions that went on. I mean, here you are, the kickoff, most of you probably thinking, hey, we need a miracle in order to win it, but probably don't think that reality was going to be that. Talk about that play, talk about right beforehand, and walk us through the emotions all the way till after that play.
Yeah, so, I mean, I just got goosebumps watching it. So, it was a ground and pound type of game. We really did a good job of controlling the offensive line of scrimmage, and we did a good job of time possession. But we came down and we scored. We had a lot of confidence in our defense, so we scored with 2 minutes to go in the game. Thought we had it under control, and of course, they come back and kick a field goal to go up. And so we're all, deflated. And, so you think you won your first playoff game ever to losing it. And then, they line up, they kick the kickoff, and, Kevin Dyson wasn't even supposed to be in there. The ball wasn't designed to go to Lorenzo Neal. He grabs it, pitches it to Frank, and throws it over to Kevin Dyson, and he takes off. The whole place is going nuts. I mean, everybody that's still there is going nuts. And, so you're like, oh my gosh, we just won. What a miracle. And then they got to review it. And so you go back down to like, oh my God, they're going to overturn it.
I thought they were. I got to be honest. I remember it like it was yesterday.
So you're up, down. What are they going to do? And then finally they come out and announce that the place stands, and the place goes berserk. There's people trying to get back in the stadium that left because they left, too early, and they're mad and stuff like that. But the place is going nuts, and we just what an awesome way to win your first playoff game.
Yeah, and it was. I still remember that play as it happened. Incredible, incredible, incredible. And then we go to the yard short game. Kind of ironic, the same guys involved named Kevin Dyson. Let's go ahead and show this play. It was Super Bowl 24. And I know this is not a thriller for you to watch right here, but I want to go ahead, show this play, and then we'll talk about this one as well.
Final play of the game in regulation. It is caught by Dyson. Can he get in? No, he cannot. Mike Jones made the tackle. And the Rams have won the Super Bowl.
And you talk about emotions. On one end, you're on the happy side of it. And obviously, to have that happen in the Super Bowl, 1 yard short, I mean, just had to be like a nightmarish feeling for you.
Yeah, the hardest thing is that Steve had done such a good job all year, in the 2-minute offense. And we've come back so much throughout the year. And obviously with the Music City Miracle, there wasn't a guy on the field at any time that thought we were going to lose the game.
Right.
I mean, it's just what we do. And to come up 1 yard short, it was like, oh my gosh, what just happened? So, I mean, your body goes numb. You go in the locker room, you still can't believe it. And, you sit back and now you can reflect that, what an opportunity, because I've got a bunch of buddies that have been in the league a long time that never got to play in a Super Bowl. But at the same time, you wish you were 1 yard closer. You look back at the film and you look at little things that if we'd have gained a couple more yards here or there, we're in the end zone. But it's not one of the funnest things to do. And it's still a very hard game to watch.
And, I wanted to ask, because like we mentioned a couple of minutes ago, you played in 2 of what I think have to be in the top 10 games of all time. Do you often reflect back and think of those games, or is it one of those things where if it's on TV and you see it, you turn the channel and you don't want to watch it?
No, I can watch it. I pick up little things when you go back and watch it. And, of course, my kids love watching it because they can make fun of me because there's a couple plays during the game where the commentators really get on me, but, they don't know what they're talking about. So it's fun to go back and watch and listen to everything and the shows and the different breakdowns and everything of Dick Vermeil and, him getting on Kevin Carter for coming out of the game and things like that. And, it's just, it's a part of my life. I'm very proud of it. I was fortunate enough to win a national championship in college, and I lost one too, to Florida.
Right.
So I got to play in some really big games, and, it's something you learn. You learn from your mistakes, good or bad.
Let me ask you this, because you just brought up a great thing. You played in the Super Bowl. You played in the I think you played in the national championship game as well. Talk about the comparisons. Forget about the play on the field, but the hype for the national champion, hype of the Super Bowl. Did it help you in this case, Kevin, because you've been on that big stage before, or did it not really affect either way?
No, it definitely helped me playing at Florida State. We played in a New Year's Day Bowl every year, in 2 national championships, and it's basically, the thing I hate the most is that I was so confident that I thought we would be back again the following years. I didn't record anything, and you'd see guys walking around, video cameras recording the whole process and the whole week of the Super. I should have done it, but I was too, just stupid. We'll be back here, next year because that's what we do. We just win. So I wish I would have taken more time to take it in. It was also the year that, if you remember, they didn't have the 2 weeks off, before they played the Super Bowl.
Right.
We went right in the AFC Championship, came home, had a meeting Monday, and flew out the next day to Atlanta. So, it was like a normal work week, So, we didn't have time to sit back and have that big buildup that you do for a national championship where you got a whole month to prepare.
Right.
And this was just like a normal work week, and you go back to work. And, luckily we had played St. Louis in the regular season and beat them. So we had a little bit of familiarity with them. So it was just kind of catching up on what they did and their tendencies again. But it was, back to business.
Now, I think you told me today that you've been to Titan practices. Weren't you at the Titans practice today?
Yeah, I got my days mixed up. I went last week to the Tampa. I'm actually going tomorrow.
To Titans. So you still pull for the Titans, obviously?
Yeah. I'm from South Carolina.
Right.
Moved when I was drafted in '98, and I did my last year with the Jaguars. I don't get credit for that season because I got hurt at the beginning of it, but I moved right back here to Hendersonville, where we live now, because I enjoy Nashville. I think it's a great city. That's where I wanted to raise my kids, and very fond of the community, and the Titans organization do a good job of keeping the alumni involved.
And talking about this upcoming season, let's start hitting on it a little bit. How do you think, and I know you'll get to see some more tomorrow, but how do you think the Titans are going to fare this upcoming year?
I think it's going to come down to, how the offensive line blocks. I know Tannehill caught the brunt of it last year, but, Derrick Henry missed, 8-10 weeks. And we played some really good teams when he was out.
Yes, he did.
Great job. And we beat some really quality teams with San Fran and Kansas City and Buffalo last year. And he doesn't get a lot of credit. I think we have to get a little bit better on the play calling. We get kind of vanilla and kind of predictable. And but I think overall this year, I agree with you. I think that I don't understand why the Titans don't get the respect they do. I think the Colts didn't upgrade with Matt Ryan. I think, it's going to be an easier target for Jeffrey Simmons and Bud to get back to him. He's not going to have the mobility that Wentz had. So I think it's a opportune time for them to win the division again and get back into the playoffs.
So what do you like? Let me ask you a twofold question. What do you like most about this team? And what is the thing that worries you the most about this team?
I think the thing that I love the most about the team is it reminds me of when I was there with John Runyon and Benji Olsen and Bruce Matthews and Brad Hopkins, the physicality of the run game. We wanted to take the fight to whoever we played, and we wanted to ground and pound, and we wanted to punish you. We wanted to wear you out throughout the game. And that's a lot how this team's built. Running into Derrick Henry, 25 times a game, it puts a toll on a defense. And you can't really game plan for that type of physical specimen and that speed. A lot of guys they underestimate his speed. So I think that, it's similar to the style offense we ran when Steve was there. The thing I'm still worried about is the secondary. If you don't have the best secondary in the world, it's not the end of the world as long as you can get to the quarterback. And we did a little bit better job towards the end of the year of putting pressure on the quarterback, but we got to get off the field on third down. And we gave up way too many third down conversions last year. I'm pretty sure we're in the top 5 worst in the NFL. and the work hard and get off the field is what it's all about. And so we got to do a better job of that. And that's what kind of worries me the most.
Does the team have enough talent to get to the Super Bowl?
If you look at it 2 years ago or 3 years ago when Tannehill got here, I think it's all about when you peak, right? And I don't really, obviously you want to win every game, but it's about, making sure that you peak at the right time. And so it's just a matter of what they are, how they end the season and getting to the playoffs and still going up and not hitting your full potential yet. So I think they have all the talent in the world to get there. I think they had the pieces 3 years ago, and not too much has changed since then. But it's going to be, obviously what happens throughout the season with injuries, and then, how well that they are able to open up the playbook and add to it as the season goes.
Kev, let me ask you this, and I know I'll get and you played center. Actually, before I ask you the question, who's the toughest guy that was on the other side of the line of scrimmage that you faced?
So actually, that Buffalo game, Ted Washington is the nose guard. He might be the biggest nose guard in the NFL. When you watch cut-ups, we watch end zone cut-ups. When Ted lines up over the center, you can't see the center and you can't see much of the left and right guard. He's that big. So it was an intimidating person to block, just a humongous man. And his backup was Pat Williams. So you never got a break. Pat was one of the best nose guards in the league as well. So, to play that team with those two guys was one of the worst, it's not the most fun. So I'd say Ted Williams. I played against Ray Lewis in college and in the pros. Ray was just, he's wicked smart when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, but he also had Saragusa and Teddy Adams grabbing linemen so he could run free. Just his intelligence on the field made him super hard to block.
Kev, I know that you have to have athleticism, obviously, to be an offensive lineman, but talk about how you have to also be smart. It's not all about, I was talking to, we had Mark Cooper, who used to play with Denver on the other night, and we were talking about, nowadays you're hearing about his arms ain't long enough, his legs ain't long enough, but there's a big portion of the game that is intelligence rather than just size, isn't there?
Absolutely. And that's part of, again, the coaching, Munchak really made us the steward of watching film and studying. And, when you go to the line of scrimmage, you know the play, you know where it's going, the snap count. And when you start to know what the defense is going to do, it slows the game down so much for you to where you can really just focus on your technique. And you don't have to be the strongest or fastest guy out there. But, if you know what's going to happen and you know what the defense is designed to do before they even run it, it puts you, light years above everybody. And, honestly, that's probably what kept me in the league as long as it was, is because I was able to use most of my brain and not so much of my body. And but yeah, it slows the game down tremendously when you know and you have an idea of what the defense is trying to do to stop the play.
I've been listening to some local radio, sports radio here and there, and it seems like second year Dylan Redun's the offensive lineman, taking a lot of crap. People are saying he's not good, he's not panning out. Then you heard it earlier today that Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, the rookie, who I love, was jumping off sides here and there. I'm sorry, procedure, whatever you want to call it. But as a former offensive lineman, what type of advice would, with all the media attention and crap that they're taking, would you give these two young men?
There's always going to be media, and they're always going to, the bad thing about offensive linemen is that the only time you really get recognized is when you mess up. You jump, you give up a sack, you bad snap, whiff on a block. I mean, you only really get recognized when you do something good. When Derrick Henry's running down the field for a 50-yard touchdown, they're not going, great block, Taylor Lewan so much. They're watching him run. So you got to zone it out. When you're a professional, and you got to act like a professional. So what you have to do as a young player is you have to, one, learn from your mistakes. Don't make them twice, right? Learn the playbook so you can get more reps, because they can't play you if you don't know what you're doing. And the more you learn the playbook, and you know what to do, the more reps you can get, and that's what makes you a better pro. So, he does get a lot of crap, but when they drafted him last year, they said that his plans were really to move him inside anyway. So they really wasn't sure where he was going to play. So I think they're still trying to figure it out. And I mean, for a young guy to come in and your playbook goes from like this big in college to this big, it's a lot to come. And then we're going to play you right tackle, and we're going to play you left guard, or we're going to play right tackle and right guard. So now you got to learn two positions. It's a heck of a lot for, any college athlete getting to the pros to learn.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Before I get into the last couple of questions, I have to ask you this. I lived in Tampa for 30 years before moving out here to Hopkinsville. I have a USF shirt. I have a USF hat. Explain. You went to Florida State. What are you doing wearing a USF shirt?
Yeah, well, my son Jackson Long played here, Beach High School, tight end, and he's tight end for South Florida. He's a freshman, right. So I'm supporting it. Jeff Scott is the head coach there. Yep. Brad Scott is his father, who recruited me to Florida State to play, and then Jeff was a ball boy when I was playing. That's how old I am, but I'm supporting the Bulls, and hopefully they get things turned around this year.
Yeah, I did a show for USF Bullseye. It was called. It's still out there, but we used to do weekly shows on USF. So I saw it, and I'm like, wait a minute. Let me look again. I thought he went to Florida State.
Yeah.
The last two questions I want to ask you actually concerns Florida State. So talk about, you played for a legend. You played for Bobby Bowden. Everybody knows the class this man has. Talk about what Bobby Bowden meant to you as far as, you go from high school, you go to college, you're going through that transition period from really, say what you want, but you're becoming an adult now. And, you're away, you're at Florida State. Talk about Coach Bowden, what he meant to you and what he taught you.
The great thing about Coach Bowden is that, every practice ended not just with like, hey, we got to work on this, or good practice, or you got to pick it up, but it ended with like a philosophy lesson in life. And, his job, he took it upon himself not only to make us the best student athletes we could be, but he wanted us to be good people. So, all the stories he shared with us about his experiences coaching, at West Virginia and at Florida State, just kind of cultivated us into men. And, we played as a team, but he made us get after it. And he taught us how to fight as hard as you can and then love one another when you get done. And, it was a lesson. Every day we learned something. And he was a big advocate of that. And he was a big advocate of, straining your potential. And he did it in ways, he just pushed you in ways that you didn't really, he never cussed. He didn't dog cuss anybody. It was just his motivational and the respect that you had for the man. And this, when you listen to him talk, everybody just stopped what they're doing because they wanted to hear what he had to say. And he just got the most out of all his players.
And we talked earlier about playing in big games and how it helped you in college when you went to the Super Bowl. What was Bobby's philosophy? How did he keep everybody, even keel about when you got to those national championship games, not to let the moment, cost you to play not up to par?
Right. Yeah. Again, it was all about preparation. I believed, he had me convinced. He had offense convinced there wasn't another defense in the United States as good as the guys we were practicing against. And there wasn't another offense as good as the defense practice against. And I'm talking about when we went through two-a-days, back when you could have two-a-days, we fought every day. And I mean, I'm talking at practices the players fought, the coaches fought. It was heated all day long. And again, at the end of the day, we'd get together and we'd hug it up and stuff like that. But we wanted, we were so excited to go out and hit somebody. And it was the same thing for the bowl games because you got a month to prepare. Well, who do you think you're hitting for a whole month? The same guys you fought in the summer with. So, I mean, you're so ready to go out and hit somebody else. It's just, it's a blessing. So, and then, he convinced us, we prepared harder than anybody, that there's no one that could beat us. And we didn't, there was not a game that we didn't walk out on the field that we didn't think we were going to win. It was, how bad are we going to win?
Right. What do you think? The latest thing I'm hearing now is FSU could go to the Big Ten, could go to the SEC. Is realignment ruining college football?
I think it, I'm old school. I'm not a big advocate on the NIL, and I'm not a big advocate on the transfer portal.
Right, me either.
I do think the players should get paid. I think, like if a regular student got to do a part-time job and they get paid, I think the players should get paid a little bit to where they're not going out and they're, stealing crap and doing bad things. I think they should get paid, but I think this NIL deal is going to get out of control. The transfer portal, part of what makes you a man is when you have to go to work and you have to compete.
Right.
And when things get tough, you just don't pack your bag up and leave. All right. You got to work harder, figure it out, and handle the adversity. And now these guys that go somewhere and, they don't like it and the coach, yells at them and they're like, well, I'm just going to transfer. I mean, what does the kid learn?
Absolutely.
So I don't think that, and I don't think, the conference is coming together. I mean, the nostalgia of all the bowl games and stuff like that has kind of lost its zing. I don't know how you get it back unless you go to like 8-game playoff and you start encompassing all these bowls to where they mean something again. But, playing in the Gator Bowl, used to mean something. The Peach Bowl used to mean something. And now they're kind of like, everybody's just waiting on the 2 playoff games.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Last question, and I'm going to let you run. FSU, they're getting better. Mike Norvell seems like he's doing a good job. Not necessarily a prediction from a record standpoint, but do you think this team has a team to compete in the ACC this year?
I do think they'll be more competitive this year. They did a good job. Again, I don't like it the way they did. They addressed the offensive line and the transfer portal. That's, to me, watching the team play, when the quarterback, it doesn't matter who you put back there. If they got 2.5 seconds to throw it, they're not going to perform very well. And so we really needed to address the offensive line. And I think they've done a good job about that. We seem to always get decent athletes. And, they've got to sustain and they got to stay in shape this year. I don't think they were conditioned well, 2 years ago. And then last year they got a little bit better. But I think they'll.
All right. I think we just lost Kevin on the last part of him answering our last question. Let's see. There he is. Okay. Almost lost you there for a moment, buddy. But, yeah, and I'm looking forward. It starts this weekend, so it should be fun. Well, listen, my friend, I want to thank you so very, very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us on Frankly Speaking Sports tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it.
All right, Kev, stay safe and let's go Titans, and good luck to your son at USF.
I appreciate it. Horns up.
Horns up. All right, that was Kevin Long, former Tennessee Oilers center who played in Super Bowl XXIV. Let's take a quick 15-second station break. We'll be back right after this.
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Frankly Speaking Sports. I'm Larry Frank. What a great show. Great interview by former center for the Oilers and the Titans, Kevin Long. We got about 5 minutes left in the show. And I want to, I always ask people, and people say, Larry, last game, we cut the preseason from 4-3. What should happen in game 3? Well, for example, if you're with the Carolina Panthers, you're going to see, and you should see, I'd be very surprised if Baker Mayfield doesn't play a lot in this game. People are going to say, well, why? He's a starter. You don't want him to get hurt. He needs to. He needs to get in sync with that offense. He hasn't had a lot of reps. He hasn't been here a long time. It's very important. And it raises the question, how much should the starting team play in the last game of preseason? And if you ask me, I'm going to tell you just like it is, folks. I don't pull no punches, but I think coaches that rest their players the last game before the season starts are foolish. They're foolish, stupid, silly, ludicrous, whatever word you want to say. People go, well, why? The reason why is you need to be in game shape, physically and mentally, not just physically, but mentally as well. And you can't do that unless you get on the field. So many teams take half the game or 3/4 of game 1 to get in sync, and it's game 2 or 3 before they get going, where if they just would play these guys the last preseason game, even if it's for a half, that way they can get in shape mentally and maybe even build some confidence towards the opener 2 weeks, which is a 2-week layoff between the last game and the first game. So, that's what I would say. I know some people disagree with that philosophy, but at the end of the day, how is your team there's no better way to prepare from a mental and physical standpoint than being on the field. You don't allow things like we used to. You don't have these hitting like you used to have in the old days. Now everything's a walkthrough. Don't touch me. Otherwise, you'll be kicked off the team because you hit me. Those are things that you're not going to experience in the regular game. In the regular game, it's all go, baby. And you got to remember, if perfect practice makes perfect, then you have to have perfect practice. Okay, you're not having a perfect practice if you're not going to go ahead and actually do the functions that you're going to do in the game. It's just simple philosophy, simple logic, okay? If you practice half-ass, you're going to play half-ass, okay? It's just the way it is. It's not rocket scientist. Let these guys play, let them get ready, and let's start off week 1 great. Huge weekend, folks. College football is starting up. Unbelievable. Reminder, we'll be back this Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 Pacific. We'll be streaming live again from Roku TV on Northeast Streaming Sports, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. So lots and lots of different platforms that we have. Reminder all you fans that, if you want to go ahead, ever leave comments, you can go to our Frankly Speaking Sports Facebook page as well and do that. But on behalf of all of us here, folks, on Frankly Speaking Sports, enjoy your college football opening week, baby. If you're in Tennessee, Vanderbilt plays in Hawaii Saturday night late. You have no excuse not to support the Vanderbilt Commodores. Okay? Watch them on TV. Enjoy the game. Also, North Carolina, how will your new quarterback do? We'll have all the recaps coming up Monday, 9 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all of us here at Frankly Speaking Sports, have a great evening, and we'll see you Monday night.